I knew this was coming. So now you have people taking shots at Joe Budden's because last week, Queens Flip and Lamont Hill got into a situation online where it looked like it was about to come to blows. You can hear Moan in the back, saying that I'm scared. Basically, saying that they should break it up. Now, Lamont Hill was mad because he thought that Flip was calling him a sucker, right? And they was going back and forth. And I told y'all, to me, that was theatrical. It was fake to me. It was like whenever the ratings is not to the manner in which they think it should be, right? They do something crazy because controversy sells. Well, in that, Angela Rye and her podcast, whatever she got, they start taking shots at Joe Budden's podcast. And Joe Budden's took umbrage with that. He didn't like that. But let's first visit what actually happened to cause Angela Rye and them to speak on this, what happened last week on the Joe Budden's podcast. Check it out.
Then we good. Now let's get back to the show.
But that's why you saying that?
Because when you say that sucker shit, I take that as disrespectful. And I take that as to me.
Don't like suckers.
To me, so I'm trying to tell you.
But there's a lot of shit you say that we take disrespectful, but for the
and there's a lot of shit you say that I take disrespectful. I'm not gonna talk about it on air because I'm not you.
I'm afraid.
So at the end of the day, I'm not you. This is what you do, and then I'm gonna leave you alone.
All right.
No, Imani, I'm not potting. I'm not potting.
What the fuck is you doing?
Can you grab him?
Are we talking or we potting?
Y'all are making
we can talk outside or we can pot. Then let's talk outside.
Mark and Flip.
No, don't. F that.
Mark and Flip. It's not.
Every time you get mad, you talk like they and they not.
I didn't call you.
No, you called me a sucker. That's the same shit. Let's talk about
Stop, Mark.
I'm not trying to draw. Let's just talk outside.
We can't talk outside.
They can talk outside.
No, y'all can talk outside. No, y'all.
I'm talking to outside.
Not outside. You're not in this hallway. Not in this hallway. You're not. Yeah, y'all take that shit up to a project block or somewhere.
So Angela Rye and her audience and the people she had on her show, they started off with naming it Joe Budden's and the Dumbing Down podcast and the Dumbing Down of America. Now they believe that Mark Lamont Hill is dumbing himself down by being on this type of slapstick, Negro podcast, right? Because they're the black intellectuals. Well, Mark Lamont Hill, he's been hearing the whispers for years about him being a sellout. I'm from Philly, right? I see him in the park all the time, with his woman. And he was on Sunday the TV where he was called out, right? So he's been hearing the whispers, and he doesn't want to be labeled as one of those black intellectuals that don't give a damn about his people, because I know the people that he come up under. He don't come up under sellouts, but he has some real controversial takes. What he said about Francis Cress Welsing, I'm still upset with him about that. Some of the things that he says in his staunch support of the Democratic Party, right, and their policies, I don't rock with that, right? But he's been hearing the whispers, so he goes on to a Joe Budden's podcast to try to humanize himself back to, and ingratiate himself back to the black community, the black grassroots, where these people on this podcast, they don't really give a damn about the black grassroots. They're putting themselves in position to be part of the black boule. And they're saying that he's dumbing himself down and not being intellectual enough when he's around these groups of black people, right? And this is what they're saying.
And sometimes we can adopt the oppressor's behavior, which brings me to a clip that went viral this week. And that is, of course, of our friend and brother, Mark Lamont Hill. This happened on the Joe Budden broadcast this week. To me, it was clear that his co-host felt small. And, even him saying you use tricky words and Mark responding with, I use words that are tricky to you. And anytime somebody, I think, cannot take to be questioned or responds with a full temper tantrum, it is always about that other person, not about, it wasn't Mark. He didn't do anything. And if someone is so small that you can't articulate your point without throwing a temper tantrum or insulting another person, I'm happy that Mark showed both sides, that yes, I'm an intellectual, but don't get up in the studio, and I think it's important for people to see that, yes, you can still be an intellectual and demand your respect. That doesn't make you soft.
And see, if you just watch that little episode, then you would think that Mark Lamont Hill is being attacked. But I watched the show, and Mark Lamont Hill, he gives just as much as he takes. Lamont Hill's from Philly, man. He can argue. Go watch when he going back and forth on Sunday the TV some years ago, right? Lamont Hill knows how to code switch. Like, he knows how to get down to the grassroots and talk. Then he knows how to go up there with that boule class and do that too. They're trying to pull him back into the boule class. Whereas though he's had people get in his ear, people that he respected, he come up under saying, yo, what are you doing, man? You running over there with that sellout class. Like, we didn't educate you for that. I know the people that educated Mark Lamont Hill and what he comes up under. But he's trying to ingratiate himself with them, and he's been hearing the whispers. So he's caught in between, right? And Angela Rye and them, they seen that situation, right? They seen that situation, and now they're going to jump on it, right? Because they want to bring attention over to them because nobody cares about them. The black grassroots ain't paying attention to no Angela Rye. So now if you speak on Joe Budden's and stuff, now you speak on Joe Budden's podcast and the situation, now you got us talking about you because nobody cares, right? So she want to push the envelope by saying this.
I don't think that Mark should be left holding the bag in this exchange. I take great issue with that podcast and its treatment of Mark. And I was wondering when he was gonna snap. You know, there's another clip that I don't know if you all saw where Mark announces very vulnerably that he's lost almost all of his colleagues that were reporting in Gaza. And by lost, I mean they are killed. They died. In their reporting and trying to be courageous for their people.
And then around the world, we're seeing violence everywhere, including Gaza, where I work for Al Jazeera. My colleagues, every colleague I have in Gaza has been murdered. Every single colleague I have in Gaza has been murdered. So we got a lot of work to do, a lot of stuff to pay attention to.
That's pretty good. All right, Young Thug dissed,
I get scared every time he do that shit. He do it so fast. So you gotta
everybody know in Gaza is like,
oh my colleague.
God damn, he doing it again. That nigga Mark, boy. Why you don't never support him when he start talking that shit? You support him very well, Pizza Hut.
He has my full support, but I also know that once he says something like that or we discuss something like that, then we're just like, okay, what's the fucking pivot? What's the pivot after we talk about every journalist on the Gaza Strip being murdered? Like, what's the pivot?
So Young Thug
there we go.
appeared on Little Baby's project.
Quite the project.
And sharing vulnerably, he's lost all his people. And Joe Budden's transition, not this other guy, I don't know everybody's name, but not this other guy. Joe Budden's transition is like, and Young Thug. Like, just no mention of like, are you okay?
Yeah.
How do you feel? Who was lost this week? How did they die? Just like nothing. So 2 tips point around curiosity. If you can't find curiosity, find sympathy. If you can't find sympathy, find empathy. If you can't find empathy, find compassion. Because if you don't, the person who is in a constant state of grief, at some point that grief turns to rage because there's not a safe container for it. So we say on this show, welcome home, and we mean that. Of course, Mark is welcome anytime. I don't know about the rest of them. So I just want Mark to know I'm praying for you, brother. You know that. And I want better for him. I think that he deserves to hold space with people who are at least more compassionate and more eager to learn from his perspective.
See, Angela Rye's full of crap. So she's doing that. She's playing clips, certain clips from the show. But this is the thing. When Mark Lamont Hill was on that, that black station show, the Black News Network or whatever it was, once that went to funk, nobody else picked him up and gave him a job. MSNBC, CNN, like all those different shows. It was Joe Budden's. Joe Budden's is giving him a 6-figure contract. Joe Budden's offered him to come over and give his expertise and the things. Like I said, there's a lot of takes that Mark Lamont Hill says that I dislike. But what I do know about Mark Lamont Hill, he is very, very intelligent. Don't think that you, just because you disagree with Mark, but you're going to go over there and have a conversation with him, because he was trained by some of the best. He is not a dummy by no means, not at all. Like, he can have a black grassroots intellectual conversation with anybody. I just don't like when he gets up on the platforms with that boule class and they start telling him what to say. And I think that he's in a struggle. He's in a struggle, right? And me, y'all know I'm super black grassroots. I wouldn't vouch for somebody if I know the people that he come up under, right? the Dr. Malefi Asantes and all them, and the black grassroots here at Temple University. And I know who he come up under, right? So I know that he's highly intelligent. But when he gets around these people like the Angela Rye's and the Tiffany Crosses and all them, they're trying to pull him back to that Democratic plantation thought process to speak that way. But nobody offered him a job. So they wasn't finished. They came with this.
I'm not saying it's something wrong with engaging the flips of the world. I would never say, Andrew, Bakari, Angela, y'all should not engage the flips. I'm saying I, Tiffany, have no desire to engage the flips of the world. I don't choose to be in a conversation, but that's just not my ministry. I wouldn't be good at it. And I just have no desire. And yes, I do not respect everybody's opinion on everything. And yes, we respect each other's opinion here on most things, but there are some things. I mean, Bakari, if you came to me and was like, oh, your period coming, you got a cramp, this is what you need to do. I'm probably like, what are you basing that on, Bakari? Like, where did you get that from? Like, that's not necessarily your area of expertise. I
got that off Instagram. The lady on Instagram said if you eat steak when your period starts. I'm just telling you what the lady on Instagram told me.
Listen, depending on how bad the cramps are, I might listen to his ass. So I'm sorry, that's where we differ.
You're desperate. But I hear that so often that people are like, oh, well, I got a hunch. Or I got it off Instagram, or I saw it on TikTok, or I know for a fact. Well, how do you know for a fact? And then more often people told me, because so-and-so told me, then you don't know for a fact. If you didn't talk to the source, then you don't know something for a fact. So I don't respect everyone's opinion.
But
I have no desire to engage.
So Joe Budden's, he heard all this and he got wind of this. And he responded back fiercely, right? And, he's basically saying, like, y'all not on my level. Like, the fact, like, you guys are striving to be boule, y'all saying that I'm not intellectual enough, but I'm richer than y'all. Like, I'm more accomplished than y'all. The people that you trying to be Jack and Jill, the black Jack and Jill, and be around all that black class, that upper echelon, they don't even want you. They don't want nothing to do with you guys. Right? You guys are stuck in between, right? And you're knocking at the door and the gate trying to get in up to the black elites, and they won't let you. But yet and still, I'm down here, right? And you look at me as beneath you. But if I'm in the same room with you, I'm under-accomplished. That's what he's saying about Angela Rye and the Tiffany Cross, even though Tiffany Cross was good as hell, right? Right? He's saying these things, so he's responding back vicious, right? And this was his response.
My acceptance of her non-invitation becomes relevant, right? Like Angela Rye, I can assure you, like, I've got over 25 years in this business. I can assure you, if you and I are in the same place, it's a mistake on my part. Like, I'm all for people saying who's invited and uninvited places, so I ain't mad at it. But we would never be in the same space. You, quote unquote, intellectuals seem to be pulling a lot from places that, again, like it said, you admittedly know very little about. It just comes off a way.
Yeah.
It comes off a way.
It's like if you put...
especially when you pretending to... especially when you pretending to do all of this super black kumbaya. I got a problem with that, too. Mm-hmm. I got a problem with the people that masquerade as kumbaya, super black, all for the people, and I'll be the first one to tell you how we're different. I come on here every week and say we're less different than we all like. We just got different ideologies. But I'm not going to keep listening to people who, in 25 years, I've never said the name Angela Rye. I don't give a fuck about nothing y'all talking about over there. I'm saying that respectfully. I don't come on here and say a word about any of that shit. I expect reciprocity. You could have titled that clip totally different.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Don't claim to be super pro-black and then take the #1 black urban podcast and put that type of stink on it because you think you got a friend over here. That don't give you a license.
I don't think it's that. I don't think if Mark was here or not. I think
if Mark was here, they would never have those conversations.
No,
they having those conversations because their friend is up here.
No, they having those conversations because Mark is deemed an academic and an intellectual, which you
well,
are.
He is, not deemed,
he
is.
No, I said what you are. So now it's, why is he even there? Mm-hmm. Like Angela Yee said, Mark, just come home.
Angela Rye.
Angela Rye said, Mark, just come home.
That's the other beef.
But then you go on to say how diverse Mark is. So I think that that's an insult because you don't put Mark in a box. Mark is home. Mark is a black man sitting in a room with black men that grew up in similar circumstances, albeit we wasn't all in the court. You can't say he's not home. We all had
our own walks of life.
Yeah, dog. Like I just disagree with that shit.
Thank God there was a black-owned, independent media company there to pick up our good brother when he was misunderstood by other outlets.
Talk about it.
Why is that part not being said by pro-black native land people? I'm getting confused.
Yeah.
Mark was a free agent. Y'all had a chance to bring him home.
And didn't.
You didn't.
That's a good point.
So don't sit up on your platforms all pretentious as one of the Charlamagnes. That's how I know you. I know you as one of the Charlamagnes and get to saying what Mark should and shouldn't be doing. Please. If you didn't discuss this podcast before, if by your own admittance you know very little about it, the woman Tiffany said at least 5 times that she don't give a fuck about these other opinions. All I'm asking is that you act like it.
And see, I like what Joe Budden said because Mark Lamont Hill is an intellectual, whether you like him or not. He's had some takes, as I said, that we don't like, but he's not a dummy. Don't think that you can just go and have a debate with Mark Lamont Hill because I'm telling you he's not a dummy, right? At all. I've been in the rooms with the people, and like I said, I know where his education comes from. He knows all the grassroots stuff. But I don't like the fact that Tiffany Cross and Angela Rod and all them, they're saying, you know, they're talking down on the podcast that actually gave him a job, right? And like the brother said, he come from all the circumstances we come from. He come from North Philly. Straight. He don't come from the suburbs and East Bubblefuck or Bloomfield Hills. He don't come from that. He come from off the block, North Philly, right? Family come from North Philly. So he know he's where he's supposed to be. Like, we complain a lot of times about our black educated class and intellectuals leaving the black community. Well, he's right there in the midst, having the arguments, having the conversations, and some takes I agree with, some takes I disagree with. But at least he's there, right? They're trying to pull him away because they're saying that he's dumbing himself down being around those type of black people. That's the part I don't like. That's the part I don't like. So I can have my criticism of Mark Lamont Hill, but I can also say, you know what? Joe Budden's and them gave him a podcast, and he doesn't think about it. He doesn't think that he's too good to be on a platform with a Queen's Flip or a Joe Budden. Like Angela Rod and them thinks. They think that they're better. They think that they've arrived and all that kind of stuff. But they didn't offer him a job. CNN fired him. That Black News Nation went under, right? And those same Negroes that you say that's beneath him had enough money to give him a job and bring him on. So shout out to Joe Budden for that, man. Like I said, I'm not always the biggest fan of these guys, but at the end of the day, they still black. I'm black. I'm no better than them. They no better than me, right? And we all trying to figure things out. But I don't like that black bourgeois, I'm better than you class and all that kind of stuff. It's just weirdo stuff, man. But let me know what you guys think about this, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button. Subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till next time. Peace.